You guys know the deal. It's the same old song and dance. Every time a new patch comes out, balance changes are discussed, the community outrage begins. And people like myself certainly play into it as we talk about upcoming changes, their implications, and how we feel about them, sharing our opinions before anything really sets in place. Well, the recent PTR patch is no different. There's already been lots of community pushback for some of the planned changes in patch 1.7. Ana, and not so much. Most people agree that she's a bit overtuned, so her changes have seemed relatively fair. But the changes to D.Va and Roadhog are where most of the complaints are coming from. D.Va's armor reduction, people are already saying she's gonna be way too squishy, and Roadhog's persistent line of sight check for the reel-in on Hook 2.0, people are saying it might be a bit too much of a nerf. Now, the other day there was a thread on the Overwatch forums asking whether or not the sky was falling, the gist of which was lots of people are complaining about the D.Va nerf. Is it true? Is it really as bad as people say? But Jeff Kaplan came out to respond saying that no, the sky is not falling. 0.26% of Overwatch players have tested these changes on the PTR. The average playtime on the PTR, including sitting in the menus, this week is 26 minutes. I encourage people to log in and try these changes for a few nights, not one anecdotal match, and see how you feel about them by formulating your own opinion. What he's basically saying is that there's loads of people bitching about changes that they haven't even thoroughly tried. I was a bit surprised by the amount of sass coming from Jeff's response there, but I really can't say at the same time that I blame him. I mean, let's be honest, if you're making a game, you can't love that every time you make a change, you're just seeing page after page after page of complaints and people calling Blizzard dumb and these decisions being terrible. That's gotta get on your nerves eventually. The truth is, why should people test the PTR? There's zero incentive for most people to play on the PTR. That's the issue. Beyond someone's goodwill in wanting to maybe play test Blizzard's game for free, which, mind you, this is something that historically developers would spend good money on, paying salaries for play testers to test out the bugs and balance out their games. Although in recent years, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of gone by the wayside, as developers and publishers have managed to convince their communities that they should pay sometimes hundreds of dollars with the allure of playing a game early, which basically boils down to them paying to bug test the game. It is kind of crazy if you think about it, isn't it? For years and years and years, companies would pay, hundreds of thousands of dollars on salaries for game QA testers to say, test these bugs. We're gonna give you a salary, you're gonna work 40 hours a week, you test these bugs, you tell us what's wrong, you tell us what balance changes need to be made, all this stuff. But nowadays, they literally get people to pay them to do it. That's not what Blizzard's doing here, but still, Blizzard is expecting people to essentially work for them for free. And this is done because of their love for their game and the dedication to the game. That clearly isn't enough, given the numbers and how so few people are participating and playing more than 1 or 2 matches, even if they do join the PTR. But I digress. The point still stands. When it comes to balance and bug testing for upcoming changes in Overwatch, there's little to no incentive for most people to jump into the PTR and do it. Clearly, I mean, you might sit here and say, well, of course, the people who really care about Overwatch are going in the PTR and they're testing those bugs because they really want the game to be better. Maybe you're not one of those people. Listen. Jeff himself said it. It's clearly not enough if only 0.26% of Overwatch's community has even tried the PTR. Most people don't care. So how does Blizzard fix this? Because they want this to get better. They don't host and make the PTR servers public to everybody just for the hell of it. It's costing them money. They are interested in the community jumping in and getting their hands dirty, trying out these changes and giving feedback. Blizzard would love that. But we need some good old incentive. As it stands, playing on the PTR gives you zero progress towards your main account. You don't gain skill rating if you play on the competitive ladder, and you don't gain experience towards your next loot box unlock. Playing on the PTR for many is just a waste of time. So here are some changes that Blizzard can make to incentivize people to spend some time. One thing that they could do is just make it so that when you play on the PTR, any experience that you gain is applied to your main account. Or you could just straight up reward loot boxes. Maybe they do something similar to the arcade where after you play a certain number of matches, you unlock a loot box. Every 3 games you play on the PTR gives you a loot box on your main account. And then the final thing that they could do is possibly just roll the PTR changes into the live server. I'm not saying push everything straight to live so that it goes right into quick play and competitive, but maybe make its own subsection of the arcade. This would be also a great way to include the console player base, which is already excluded from trying the PTR unless they've got a PC account that can run Overwatch. Although I'm not sure of the logistics of having 2 versions of the game running on the same client. I'm not sure if this is even something that's possible, but if it were, this would be a great option for them. So while I understand Blizzard's frustration at so few people trying the changes, but so many people apparently complaining about them, there is a good reason, and it just simply boils down to incentive. People they don't care. Unless you give them incentive, they don't care to bug test your shit for free, okay? That's what it all boils down to. Give people a reason to care, more people will test, and maybe we'll get some more valid critiques and criticism from the PTR. It's something that even prior to this issue coming up and Jeff's response, I thought the PTR was kind of a wash. After the first, 5 hours of the PTR going live and everyone plays a game or 2, then the servers are dead. And this would be beneficial to both sides. If you give players incentive to play on the PTR by giving them experience rewards or giving them loot boxes, more people will play, and as such Blizzard will get more feedback, more valuable feedback. It's a win-win. I think it's something that they should seriously consider, because as it stands, clearly just the desire to help out and the desire to bug test the game for free and balance test the game for free isn't enough to get even more than half a percentage of Overwatch's player base to test out these changes for you. And then of course, if you include the console player base, this would also help and boost the numbers on the PTR testing, but nevertheless, something needs to change if they want more valuable feedback, that is for certain. All right, everybody, that is gonna do it for me here today. As always, I'd love to know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a good afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.